So, I mean, walk me through what happened yesterday. When did you realize that this wasn't just an upset driver?
Yeah, so John, like everyone else within our state and our country, I got up yesterday morning and I had a great morning. I got up early. I was playing around with my daughter for a couple of hours, cooking her breakfast. I grabbed a cup of coffee, gave her a kiss on the way out the door, and I got in my truck. I live right here in Bay Village now, proudly. I took a right off into Wolf Road, and then I took another right onto Columbia. I got on 90 East, and about 3 to 4 minutes into my drive, someone came up to me in the fast lane, laying on their horn, which isn't illegal, to be clear, but very aggressively, definitely trying to get my attention. I didn't know the individual. I did not give in to the attention. But here's where it got very dangerous, John, and where it got very sobering is that it went from an individual trying to get my attention that he couldn't to then using his vehicle as a weapon to swerve into my lane to get my intention or to get my attention, I should say. And that scared me. I'm not going to lie to anybody. He was rummaging through his vehicle. I could see that he was screaming at me at the top of his lungs. What he ended up finding and what he presented to the window is he held up his cell phone like this to the window, and it had a Palestinian flag on it and it had a saying underneath it. And I don't know what the saying said. I'm not going to lie to anybody. We'll find out through the investigation. But I did roll down my window because I wanted to hear what he was saying. And as I did, we were only traveling around a speed, so this will make sense, at around 40 to 50 miles an hour on the freeway at around 9:15 a.m. 90 East, a little bit of rush hour traffic. It's not overpopulated, but it's heavy. And thank God no one was next to me, but he looked at me and he said, you're Max Miller. I know where you live. I'm going to kill you and your family. And he said, free Palestine and death to Israel. Now, if you want to seek a legislator's attention or a city council person or a mayor or anything like that, there are ways to go about it. But I do feel that I was targeted on the freeway for being, a Jewish American or a member of Congress who supports the state of Israel. And this gentleman is in custody, and he did turn himself in yesterday evening, and he will end up facing the consequences of his actions.
I imagine you just had to be so thankful your daughter wasn't in the car.
John, that's the biggest blessing. And this is what I tell everybody. If anything were to happen to me, I can deal with that. And I'm okay with that. I've put on another uniform in my capacity in the United States Marine Corps, and I truly understand what it means to have your life on the line. But when it came to something like this, it actually gave me a beautiful perspective, which was I was alone. I was able to keep calm, cool, and collected, stay resilient in a very tumultuous situation, get, you know, get his license plate number and hold him accountable. The biggest blessing from this is I know that this is only going to make me stronger as an American, as a Jewish American, as somebody who's going to continue not just to fight against anti-Semitism, but as well as Islamophobia and all forms of hate. I mean, this is not the country that I grew up in, or that you grew up in, or that we had known over the course of our, over 250 years of existence. And really, my hope is that people with all of this emotion that continues to get injected within the political sphere in our nation is that we just take a step back and once again, sometimes, disassociate an emotional reaction and decision from a logical one and one with reason, and just to truly think about it before actions are taken. Because, John, this young man, and once his name is released and once you find out the profession that he has, I believe it is going to shake the core of the community once they find out who this individual is.
We were together 4 weeks ago this morning at the Jewish Federation of Cleveland, and you spoke out against anti-Semitism. How concerned are you about where this is happening, going in this country?
Yeah, I am very concerned. I mean, without question, we have seen a rise in anti-Semitism, but it's not only a rise in anti-Semitism on social media. We are now seeing people taking action to actually hurt individuals who either support the state of Israel or have the Jewish faith. And the best thing that anyone can do in a situation like this is, I believe, what I did. People like that want individuals like me to hide. I'm sure that individual wanted me to end the rest of my day and to go home and not finish my meetings, but I did. And that's how I was raised, and that's how you persevere, in my opinion. That happened to me that morning. I went about the rest of my meetings within district, and when those meetings wrapped up, I proudly filed the police report at 3:30 p.m. That is the best way, in my opinion, how we can continue to fight back and not hide against this type of hate and just continue to suit up and to do our jobs as everyday Americans, regardless of political affiliation, to address this type of hate across the board.
Yeah, you mentioned political affiliations. Speaker Minority Leader Jeffries tweeted out this condemnation of this. You were with Chantel Brown 4 weeks ago when you talked about the fact that this is not Republican or Democrat. This is American.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is for everyone who has a sense of American values. This country always accepted, people for the religious denomination, and we've gone through some tough times here to get to that point of equality for many people of many different races and religions. But there is no safer home in the entire world than the United States of America to be any religion that you would like to be, and every race is accepted for exactly who you are. And those are the values that we have here. We are a country that is based on Judeo-Christian values, and we do want to get along. I mean, when I go out in the community, people are upset on both sides of the aisle about the rhetoric, whether they're upset from the rhetoric from President Trump, which people are, and they're upset about the rhetoric from the left constantly. And, you know, instead of just pointing fingers at one side or the other and saying, you know what, you Republicans need to do better or you Democrats need to do better, we really need to take away these titles and start talking about us as the American people. Because once we come together as the American people and start removing these titles that have separated our country, I do believe that we will come together, and I do believe that our country will find a better spot when it comes to issues like this.
And finally, I imagine you hope that this quick arrest and this eventual prosecution will send a message.
Absolutely. I mean, my hope is that this sends a message to anybody. Sadly, this young man lost his cool on the freeway. And look what is going to happen to him because of this. I mean, my hope is that people will see that you can reach out to your publicly elected officials to set up meetings to talk to them. You do not need to cause them harm or harass them on the freeway or in public to get our attention. My hope is that this will deter anybody from making a reckless decision like this and really factor in everything that's going on. My apologies, my dogs are running around with my daughter, but really that is my hope, John. My hope is that this will deter anyone moving forward from committing an act like this and really, having some common sense back into the arena.
I have two dogs at home, so I perfectly understand. And I do thank you for your time, especially on a day like this. I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Take
Take
care.
care.
God bless you.